Wave 3 News tonight.
It's a fight we've followed for years now. Tonight, we know Metro Louisville will pay Wayside Christian Mission tens of thousands of dollars. Find out why.
A disabled cruise ship back in port. 4 folks from Kentuckiana happy to be back on dry land, and we talked with them about their experience.
And an AWOL soldier turns himself in at Fort Campbell. What he says he needed before returning to war that the military wouldn't give him.
And it's definitely not the news Cats fans wanted to hear.
Working for you. This is Wave 3 News at 11.
It's not the way they planned their vacation cruise, stranded at sea for days in a disabled ship. Tonight, 4 friends from Kentuckiana are happy to be back on land. Good evening, I'm Dawn G.
And I'm Scott Reynolds. The 4,500 passengers and crew on the Carnival Splendor arrived in San Diego this afternoon. It took hours for them to get off that massive ship because, well, the elevators weren't working. What else could go wrong? Tonight, we talked with 2 women from New Albany on the phone who say they stayed positive. Wave 3's Maricela Burgos is live in the newsroom with their story that they'll never forget. Maricela.
Michelle Jacoby and her 3 friends were supposed to be on board until Sunday celebrating a birthday, but their trip was cut short, a trip they will certainly never forget.
These are some of the captured memories Michelle Jacoby and her 3 friends will have of their trip aboard Carnival Splendor. Tugboats towing the ship into port in San Diego instead of docking at the Mexican Riviera.
I just kept telling them, this is really not what it's normally like, you know? It's a lot more fun than this.
The fun was supposed to have started on Sunday when the group boarded, but it was delayed by a Coast Guard inspection. And then the following day, their trip took a different direction.
Monday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, there was a rumbling. It just felt like somebody was shaking your bed.
The rumbling came because of a fire in the ship's engine room.
Throughout the cruise ship, it smelled like an electrical fire. It was kind of scary.
For most of their trip, the group spent their time without electricity. Cold water came back Monday night. And for food, well, their menu wasn't as elaborate as you'd expect.
It was salad and salad sandwiches for lunch and for dinner. For breakfast, we had cereal, which was nice, and then they did have milk that was not yet spoiled. I know that they did the best they could with what they had on hand, you know, and we just tried to stay pretty upbeat. We laid out a lot. We got tan.
Michelle says the cruise director kept everyone calm about the situation.
It was really the longest 3 days of our lives.
Michelle's friend April Richardson says at first they were uneasy, but that the trip wasn't as bad as it could have been.
It was a little uncomfortable at night because there wasn't, you know, a lot of airflow and stuff like that. But, you know, for the most part, we just, you know, we were stuck on a boat. What else are you going to do?
Michelle Jacoby says Carnival is reimbursing all their expenses and offering them a free cruise. She says they will take them up on that, but will probably try the Caribbean next time. Live in the newsroom, Maricela Burgos, Wave 3 News.
All right, thanks, Maricela. What a story. Metro Louisville will pay Wayside Christian Mission about $145,000 to settle a complaint. Wayside filed that complaint with HUD back in November of 2009 after it was told it couldn't move its women and families shelter from East Main Street to the old Mercy Academy property on Broadway in the original Highlands. Nina Mosley with Wayside says they felt the city was discriminating against its clients and violating the Fair Housing Act. On top of the payout, Metro Planning and Design and Zoning Board members will have to attend fair housing training. The agreement also says the Metro cannot take eminent domain of Hotel Louisville. That's where Wayside ended up moving its shelter on Broadway. But Mosley says that doesn't mean the state can't file for eminent domain. JCTC had tried to acquire that property for more parking, but gave up its fight in March.
The Metro Homicide Unit is investigating a deadly shooting on Gardner Lane. LMPD says officers were called to the home around 7:20 this evening and found a man dead inside. Police say right now this is a death investigation, but they're not ruling anything out. Investigators say they're trying to figure out who else may have been in the home at the time. If you have any information, call the anonymous tip line at 574-LMPD.
An AWOL Fort Campbell soldier returned to the post on this Veterans Day because he reached his 30-day limit before facing a possible desertion charge. The 30-year-old member of the 101st Airborne Division says he's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and isn't ready to return to combat. The Army doesn't agree. Army Specialist Jeff Hanks of North Carolina heads for Gate 4 at Fort Campbell and to certain punishment, with supporters from Operation Recovery close behind.
I have no problem going back to Afghanistan, no problem at all. That's my duty, I understand that. But I need treatment as well. I'm not on my A game.
A month ago, Hanks refused to board a plane for a return deployment to Afghanistan. He went AWOL, claiming he's not fit to serve after being close to an IED blast and witnessing wounded civilians, including a young Iraqi girl.
It had an effect on my daughters. I have 2 little girls. My 5-year-old pulled me aside. She goes, you know, you're not as nice as you used to be. And that hurts.
His supporters couldn't follow him onto the post, but they know Hanks faces a possible court-martial and jail time.
I know going AWOL is, you know, it's not something I wanted to do. And it's sad that I had to resort to that. But I did what I thought was right. And I don't care what happens, I still will always think that I did the right thing.
Now, Hanks claims he didn't seek treatment after returning from Iraq because, quote, they will ridicule you. But after coming home from Afghanistan, he did, and he says a therapist told him to seek marriage counseling when he came back to the States. Fort Campbell officials can't discuss Hanks' case because of privacy rules.
Dozens of LMPD recruits and officers will return to an Indiana landfill tomorrow to continue their search for the body of a Louisville College student. Police say a man confessed to killing 18-year-old Andrew Compton in the Highlands and dumping his body in a dumpster that officers believe ended up in Medora, Indiana. Today, more than 6 people sifted through that trash in Medora. They found a few items of interest, but say it's too early to tell if any of it is actual evidence.
Like I said, the enormous task at hand, we're going to stay positive and do what we can to bring this young man out of here.
40-year-old Gregory O'Brien is charged with Compton's murder. Police say O'Brien told detectives the Sullivan University freshman died during sex and that he put his body in a TV box and then into a dumpster.
The University of Louisville has the green light to move forward with merger negotiations with Jewish and St. Mary's Healthcare and Catholic Health Initiatives. U of L trustees gave their approval for the university to sign a letter of intent to form a partnership. That combined partnership would include more than 3,000 physicians throughout the Bluegrass. Denver-based CHI will invest more than $300 million into the partnership.
Improve the quality of health care for all people in Kentucky. It'll improve our academic program, medical program at the University of Louisville. It'll improve research in our state.
President James Ramsey says there are many steps to make before the merger becomes a reality, including regulatory approval, and that could take a year.
University of Louisville physicians are upping the ante in their fight against Humana with a series of ads to try to get its point across. It is a story that we've been following for months now. The sides have been locked in a contract dispute since July 1st, meaning U of L doctors are out of network to patients who have Humana. At issue, how much those doctors are reimbursed by the insurer. Humana wants to decrease payments by 10%.
We have every reason to believe that we are significantly underpaid in comparison to physicians in other academic centers who do the same exact work.
Humana says it is struggling to control health care costs and issued a statement saying Humana members and customers are most important to our organization, and we will continue to guide our members to ensure smooth transitions of care. Humana says it is hopeful an agreement will be reached. Kentucky Senior Senator Mitch McConnell says he is going after the president's health care law. The minority leader says he intends to file a brief supporting a lawsuit that challenges the constitutionality of some parts of the new law. It could be filed as early as next week in federal court in Florida. That's where the state's attorney general filed suit, along with 19 other states, including Indiana. Rolling back health care is a big part of the Republican agenda for next year. But this lawsuit is a second front in the battle.
A major blow to the University of Kentucky basketball program as the NCAA says one of the Cats' top recruits, really one of the nation's top recruits, is ineligible. Sports director Kent Taylor joins us with more on why UK won't have a star from Turkey on the roster. Kent?
Scott, it's the news that UK fans have been waiting for, but not what they wanted to hear. Barring a reversal on appeal, Enes Kanter will not be the centerpiece of a Cats Final Four team. Tonight at about 6 o'clock, the NCAA released its finding and ruling. Kanter is permanently ineligible. The 6'11" Turkey native was the #1 ranked center in the 2010 recruiting class. The NCAA investigation found that while playing for a club team in Turkey, Kanter received $33,033 more than his expenses for the 2008-09 season. The NCAA says that exceeds the actual and necessary expenses, saying Enes took advantage of an opportunity to play at the highest level available to him, but the consequences of receiving payments above his actual expenses is not compatible with the collegiate model of sports that our members have developed. Now, how does losing Kanter affect the Cats?
They knew it was a possibility. They've been preparing all season without him, but I do think it takes them from a top 5 status to, we're talking about still a top 15 team, I think. That's where they've been ranked without him. It's not the end of the world, but it really kind of takes away some of the high end that they were looking at.
The university is appealing the decision to the Division I Student Athlete Reinstatement Committee at the end of the month. While the appeals process is taking place, Kanter can now practice with the team. The Cats season opener tomorrow night at 7 against East Tennessee State.
Thanks, Kent. Well, as we stop to honor our vets today, we also had to pause to say goodbye to a group of Kentucky airmen. Their mission coming up next.
And we'll explain why some of those cloth grocery bags you use for your family might do more harm than good.
And coming up after the break, we'll take a look at the forecast. We'll take you right into the weekend. Another near-record day on the way, and then big changes.
Working for you. This is Wave 3 News at 11. Winner of an Emmy Award for Best Newscast. With Scott Reynolds, Don G., meteorologist Kevin Harnett, and Kent Taylor, Sports.